What's up YouTube? For today's video, with a full space Pokemon team. 9 years ago, I did a space team, and I thought it's time to do a new one because we have some new Pokemon in the game that could represent space Pokemon. Today's team is going to be out of this world. I had to say it. I tried to incorporate Moonstone and Moonball onto the team too, just to fit with the theme. If you enjoy the theme teams, if you love them, hit that like button. Tell me what your favorite space-like Pokemon is. It doesn't even have to be in the game, right? My last team as well that I did on this, I'll leave that in the comment section if you want to go back and watch it after this, and maybe you can compare what Pokemon I use back to now. All right, we got we've got a battle of space here. We got a Palkia. I've got this on my team too. So we got Deoxys as the lead, and I'm going to swap into Clefairy. So this is a bulky Cosmic Power, Stored Power Moonblast set. So with this team, I tried to use moves that were to do with space. You know, you got Moonlight, Moonblast, you know, Power, Cosmic Power. I tried to do stuff like that. So some of the sets I got there, a couple of them were actually alright, but some of them were pretty bad too. So this is my best Pokemon here. We got the Palkia Origin. So we got Spatial Rend, Earth Power and Ancient Power, Terra Blast, Steel, and Max Special Attack and Max Speed, Timber Nature. We, of course, with Illustrious Globe. So we got Arceus Ice coming in here, and Arceus Ice is going to live that pretty well. Now, Arceus Ice, I was thinking I could go Steel here, Terra Steel, and then try an Ancient Power in case they're going to go for Judgment, which they do, and they do outspeed me, doing a real fat amount of damage. So going for Ancient Power, hoping for a boost, and I didn't get it. So I thought, well, I guess I could go Terra Steel here, you know, tank that Judgment Ice type, and then finish off the Arceus, right? I'm trying to remember my last team. I think I had like Behemoth on there, and I had Solrock and Lunatone, but obviously those Pokemon aren't in the game anymore, so this is going to be a bit different. I definitely would have used, I think I might have used Cresselia last time too. Alright, so we got a family feud here. It's space versus space. And I've got Spatial Rend, and they got an Aura Spit off. So I just lost the speed tie there. Obviously, we were both Timber Nature, and yeah, that's the end of my Palkia. So I'm pretty salty about that, but there's nothing I could do at all. I'm going to have some uploads for you all the way up to the DLC for ZA as well. Then I'll be doing a live stream on that. So just giving you an update what's happening for vids. I've got some team teams coming up all the way. And I'll probably have a few scattered through December as well. Might do a Christmas one. So bringing in Uranus. Yeah, we got the Eternatus here. I had to give it a good nickname. And, you know, you got a little planet inside of there. So I thought that was, you know, it's quite appropriate. Now, this has got Terra Ice because apparently the planet Uranus is actually really, really cold. So I thought it'd be funny if I had Terra Ice on there. So in comes Mewtwo. Mewtwo is going to destroy me with a Psychic type move. So I went into Deoxys. Now this Deoxys set was absolutely terrible, but it was pretty fun to use. So I gave Deoxys. Deoxys actually got Fling, right? So I gave it Fling, Moonstone, and Terra Dark. I've also got Zap Cannon, Psycho Boost, and Gravity. I had to really put Gravity on this team because it made sense. So I got some fat damage there on Mewtwo. I think that Fling Moonstone is like, I think it's 30 or 40 base power. So it's not a very powerful move, right? Even with Deoxys' crazy offense. So we had Max Attack and Max Speed on Deoxys and Lonely Nature with the Moonstone. Only on PIMPNITE channel. So bring it back in the Eternatus. And I'm going to go for the Draco Meteor. Now, you're probably wondering why I gave it Draco Meteor over Dynamax Cannon. Well, Draco Meteor, right, for space. I thought it was a lot more appropriate. So I'm probably the only person who's going to run Draco Meteor on Eternatus. So we're going to take that Mewtwo out nice and easy. And we still got 3 more Pokemon left here. This is a random battle against, was that Ariel? Like the Little Mermaid Ariel or Airily? I'm not sure how you say that. But I've got a fat bunch of battles today, and they're going to be good. So swapping out Eternatus, going into Solgaleo. This time I thought Solgaleo would be great for Ultra Space, you know. If you remember the Ultra Space in Ultra Sun and Moon 2, it was really cool. You could go like a certain distance and find random Pokemon in their environment and other you know, legendaries or the Ultra Beasts and stuff, and then random Pokemon too. And you got to try and get as far as possible into them. You know, the further you went, the higher shiny chances and stuff like that. So we got a special actually, we got a mixed Solgaleo here. So I obviously had to have Sunsteel Strike on this set, but I didn't want to make it like max attack because I felt that'd be like too sweaty. So I went for a special attacking set and turned it into a mixed set. So we got max special attack and max speed, hasty nature, power herb as the item, meteor beam, steel beam, expanding force, and Sunsteel Strike. This actually did really, really well against many people because, you know, most people would expect the physical variant. So unloading the full load there on Giratina, and we're gonna both faint there. That's what happens. But I had to get rid of Giratina Terra Ghost. Very, very bulky Pokemon too. So I've got a Eternatus left on a Slither of Hell, and we got one more space-related Pokemon. So we're gonna go back into that Rude Planet again, and now we've got Miraidon. So Miraidon, I need to get rid of. I've got Draco Meteor. This also had gravity too, so I could, you know, land my Draco Meteors without worrying if they'd actually miss. So I'm gonna go for Draco Meteor, outspeeding Miraidon, and it's gonna get sent to another planet, which is excellent. Now, I've got one more Pokemon remaining here, and that Pokemon is also weak to Draco Meteor, and it's Koraidon. But I was a little bit tentative to swap out here. I thought I should get some good damage with Draco Meteor, and like, say if I do swap it out and leave it to the end, what if I miss with Draco Meteor? That was like a problem. So I had to have a sure way of well, not a sure way, I had to have a strategy of getting rid of this. So I thought, I'll outspeed, and then I'll bring on my last Pokemon. So Draco Meteor still does tons of damage, almost taking out max special attack and max speed. Obviously, Eternatus is a strong Pokemon, and Timid Nature there. So that's the end of my Eternatus. I think they use Collision Course there. So that's gone. My last Pokemon, of course, is Minior as Meteor. So we're going to have that, I think I've got the Indigo one. Now, we got that Shell Smash Explosion, because planets can explode. I thought that was pretty cool. Meteor Beam and Scorching Sands, too. So, you know, if we went onto a planet, right, you could have, like, a scorching hot surface. The sand could be boiling hot. Like, this one time, I went to the beach. It was so hot, like, I'm not even joking. I was in the shade for, like, 5 seconds, and I got, like, a sunburn, right, even with sunscreen on. And then the sand, you had to, like, literally sprint, otherwise you burnt your feet. That's how hot it was. So we're going to go for a Shell Smash. I narrowly lived that attack, which is absolute clutch. And we've got Meteor Beam, so I thought, this is a space team. It's out of this world. I've got that Meteor Beam, and I'm going to finish off the Koraidon here. So giving myself another special attack boost. This is also Stellar too, because I thought Stellar would look cool on the Meteor or Minior, because it sort of looked like little planets and stuff. So that is going to take the Koraidon out with the Disrespect Meteor Beam, and that's the end of the first battle. A really, really close one there in the end. Look, I could have swapped in Minior before, but I didn't want to risk Draco Meteor missing. That would have been pretty salty. Let's get on to the next battle here. This was... I have no idea what this name is meant to be. It's like got some... It's got a couple of English letters at the end of it. So, I don't know. Can anyone translate this? Let me know. I've actually always had quite an interest in like space and stuff like that. It's very, very interesting. I sometimes would watch those. You know how you'd have like those streams of the astronauts on the space station and stuff. That sort of stuff's pretty cool to me. I also love Deoxys as well. You know, it's out of this world. So we got a bit of a good matchup there with Pelipper, getting rid of that with a raw Zap Cannon straight up. My second Zap Cannon is, however, not going to be as lucky. And we've got Archaludin here. And Archaludin is going to be unloading a fat Electro Drift against me. So, as you know, Deoxys' defense virtually non-existent. So, I'm going to be fainting there. You know, Deoxys was the alien. That was my pick. I probably would have picked Behemoth as well, right? Alright, I think that, I want to say the last time, I think I might have done Magnezone as Flying Sorcerer or something like that. I can't remember. I know I had Cresselia, I had Cellrock as a sun, Cresselia as a moon, or something, or a second moon or something. along those lines, right? So bringing in Palkia here. Now, Palkia's got Earth Power, and it's also got Spatial Rend as well. I need to hit this hard, and I need to hit this fast, right? So go for the Spatial Rend here, and it is going to be able to live that one because it's got the Sturdy ability. I almost rendered them useless. So here comes the Electro Shock. So this is now going to have +2 in special attack. And I assume they're running max special attack on this, you know, over bulk. Usually a lot of time they run stamina, but this one runs steady. So that's a lot of damage there. Palkia Origin is a very, very bulky Pokemon too. It's a massive horse, you know. So I can finish this off. I thought, well, I could go Ancient Power here and try and aim for another boost. However, they're going to swap out, interesting enough, and go into Kingdra. So Kingdra obviously is a Swift Swim set, and they want to hold on to that Archaludon. So I'm going to get outspeed here by Kingdra, absolutely. It's going to go for a, like, I'd say a Dragon, like Dragon Pulse or Draco Meteor. So I thought this would be a great spot to swap in little Clefairy, right? I was actually, at the start, I was going to give Clefairy a Moonstone, but I thought without Everlight, it won't be very bulky. But in hindsight, I've given it to an even, like, less bulky Pokemon, Deoxys. So there you go. Only on PIMPNITE channel. So that Rain's going to go, and I've got Moonblast. It actually did a fat amount of damage to Kingdra and dropped the special attack. So that was really, really good. I thought I might set up some Cosmic Powers here or go for a Moonlight and then swap back into Palkia because they were going for Water-type moves, right? They had like Scald and stuff like that. So go for the a little Moonlight here. Dance it in the Moonlight. Now, I got a question for you. If anyone watches my videos, does anyone here do like astronomy? You know, look through the telescope and look at planets and stuff? Is there anyone that watches my videos that do that? I just be curious. Like, I think that would be pretty chill, you know? You know, looking through the telescope at planets and meteors and stuff. Or if you see them in the night sky, I think that'd be pretty cool. Pretty chill. I might do that when I'm like 80 years old, you know, something like that. That could be a good idea. So that's the end of Kingdra, and then came the Blissey. Now, you might be able to notice on my team that I do not have very many physical moves at all, because a lot of the space-themed moves were special, right? So going to Solgaleo, Blissey's going to use Calm Mind. Now, as I mentioned before on Solgaleo, I wasn't running any attack EVs at all. So it was a mix set, but it was mainly special attack. So I thought, well, I've got Sunsteel Strike. Let's see how much this does. I'm hoping it'll be a 2-hit KO, right, on Blissey. Blissey is definitely running max health and defense, and it lived that pretty well, actually. And Shadow Ball also is a super effective attack. Does like nearly half my health. I'm like, oh no. And it's got leftovers as well, so I thought, this is going to be a problem. Well, at least I can put Blissey, you know, on a lower amount of health and then bring, you know, one of my special attackers in to finish it off. There was that, you know, I did have that option. Or so I thought I had the option. So almost taking out Blissey, and of course Blissey is going to use Soft Boil. So I thought, well, it's funny because Sunsteel Strike and Softball both have the same amount of PP, right? So if the PP gets depleted on both moves, at least the Blissey won't be able to keep eating its egg over and over again. So I thought I'll just press this Blissey, you know, as much as I can, right? I may even get a critical hit. That would be really cool. But I got to press the Blissey, and I got to force them to use their softballs or get to the point where I think, okay, this is not working. I'm just going to attack here with Shadow Ball to get some damage there. Okay, so I was able to count the softballs really easily because I had used almost exactly the same amount of Sunsteel Strikes for that. I think I had used one more because like I went Sunsteel, then it went Calm, and then it used Softball afterwards. So I knew that I was like one ahead of it and that sort of thing. So I thought about I was like, maybe I should go for like Meteor Beam here and make them waste it. So because I had 4 left still, so I was like, okay, well they've got 4 left now too. So go for the Sunsteel Strike again, hoping for a critical hit. This person was cruel. Like, they literally stalled me with this Blissey. Like, you probably never ever see a Solgaleo getting stalled by a Blissey, but then you got to remember you're on PIMPNITE's channel, right? Things happen and things escalate, right? Solgaleo looks like it's wearing shoes as well. Like, I don't know, it looked like it's some kind of like those fancy sports shoes. So go for another Sunsteel Strike. Blissey's spamming softball like I said last battle on planet Earth at the moment. Oh, that was a space pun. Now, I've been thinking about this for a little bit, and I'm trying to think of some good space puns for today's video, because it's been a while since I've done a pun, so I'm going to try and, I've got to try and come up with a space pun right now. I've done this is out of this world one, right? Now, Blissey finally started attacking with Shadow Ball. I think I depleted most. They actually got a critical hit there. And I had one Sunsteel Strike left, right? That was pretty much it. Okay. All right, I got one for you. What is Jupiter's favorite movie to watch on TV? Jupiter's favorite movie. Think about it for a sec. Lord of the Rings. Wait, is Jupiter the one with the ring? No, wait, it's Saturn. I think Jupiter's got rings as well. You can roast me if it doesn't. Okay, I'm pretty sure Jupiter has rings around it. All right, if not, it's Saturn. I know Saturn's got rings, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure Jupiter does as well. Anyway, that pun was obviously out of this world. So I've got one more Sunsteel Strike here. I'm ready to unload on 11 health, and I thought, okay, this would be great if I got a sympathy critical hit here, and then we could just get rid of this Blissey. But it never happened, and Blissey is going to disrespect me with Ice Beam. So it's got Calm Mind, Ice Beam, Shadow Ball, and Softball. So it doesn't even have any stab at all. Then again, Normal's not super effective against anything anyway, so you can, sometimes get around that with coverage, I guess. Now, we're going to go into my Meteor, so I thought, this is actually pretty bad because my special moves are going to do nothing to Blissey at all. So I've got Shell Smash. I thought, if I go Stellar Explosion, this might take it out, or do I risk it all and go for Shell Smash? But then it's like, well, Blissey's got Calm Mind, and it's got Ice Beam too. I mean, in my Minior's defensive core form, I'm bulkier, but it's still going to hit really hard, and I think it may even take me out too. So that was like, that's something I was thinking about, anyways there. So I really contemplated this for a while. I was looking at my other sets. I'm like, I actually have to go for Explosion to take Blissey out. Like, this is Sandra, but I thought this is bad because I got to use up my Terra here, and I've only taken 2 Pokemon out. Like, this is very bad. So just pretend all the Stellars are like the little planets and stuff they're floating out. So like, okay, please take the Blissey out. So we've got the Stellar Boost, which is going to be useful. Explosion's got a lot of base power. Blissey goes down. Okay, that's good, Maybe I could have swapped it out earlier and then got Shell Smash or something like that, but it was risky. I didn't want to actually lose that one. So I've got 2 left. I've got my Palkia, I've got my Clefairy, so they're not too bad, and I've also got my very cold planet as well. So in comes Archaludon. I guess it is seeing what Pokemon I send in here, and I thought, wait, I've got Ancient Power. Now they've also got a Pokemon that could be faster than me as well, and would essentially wreck the remainder of my team as well. So I thought I'd go for Ancient Power, and I got an Ancient Power boost, which was absolutely out of this world, It was wonderful. So I got an Omni boost on Palkia, which is going to make it super fast. What is their actual trainer name? It's like random letters. I think that's traditional Chinese, and then it's like GBY. Maybe that's for Game Boy. Maybe that's what I have no idea at all. So we're going to go for a Spatial Rend on the Miraidon, and that is going to get sent to the moon, which is excellent. So that's down. That would have taken Clefairy out. That would have also been very bad for Eternatus as well. Last Pokemon is going to be Basculegion. This was a Last Respect set in the rain with Swift Swim. That would have been super sweaty. I don't think I would have been able to beat that, but since there wasn't any rain, which I took their Pelipper out earlier on, I was fine, and that is the end of the battle there. Getting a nice little Ancient Power sweep at the end. Let's get on to battle number 3. This was a random battle. This one's against King FC9 or King Franco. No, I'm not sure what that even is supposed to mean. So we're going to Escu lead here. Now, Escu, with its Ice Face, I need to go for a special attacking move, right? Otherwise, it's going to be able to block that. Of course, Psycho Boost misses, and of course, the Escu gets the Snowscape up. So I'm like, all right, I know what you're going to do. You're going to set up Aura Veil, aren't you? and you're gonna, you know, it works with the ice face ability. So I went for my Psycho Boost there. I got some fat damage, but it wasn't quite enough to take it out. Obviously, they're building bulk on this thing. And the Penguin got the Veil up. So I'm like, all right, I need to stall this out. Let's go for Gravity. So I was like, I wonder what move they've got on here, you know, like what coverage move. So they went for Freeze Dry. It's like, oh, okay, they've got special moves. That still does a lot because Deoxys is, you know, not very bulky. Then they had a Quick Claw. I'm like, oh, no, that's bad. And they got another Freeze Dry off here. Now, I actually went for a Zap Cannon, and it landed. Now, Zap Cannon is not 100% accurate under gravity. It's more accurate, but it still can miss a heck of a lot there. So I swapped out the alien. One day guys, one day I got a question for you about aliens and things in this sort of era, right? Do you think there's another existence out there in this universe, right? There's got to be someone. We can't be the only planet there with no one there. Like, what do you think? I think there's something out. There's got to be something out there, right? I don't know what it is, but I feel like there's something out there. Unless we're all inside like this, I don't know, fish bowl and someone's above it like pulling puppet strings. I don't know what's going on, but like there's got to be someone out there. Anyway, so going into special Solgaleo, and we're going to go for a fat Meteor Beam taking out the Eskers. So that's going to be useful, giving me a special attack boost. So I thought, you know, Solgaleo is actually pretty good for this team. So out comes Charizard, the rare shiny orange Charizard. You love to see it. Now I've got Terra Rock on this, which is quite useful for any fire type moves. And it also, you know, Terra Rock Meteor Beam does pack a bit of a punch too. I also thought, you know, it worked in with Solgaleo too. You know, in this team and stuff like that. Now I'm trying to think up another space joke for you all. I was thinking, well, like, where do you get your coffee in space? Starbucks? Like, that's all I can think of. I'm trying to think of another one. Like, actually, I don't even know if I've got Starbucks, like, where I live. Like, I don't drink coffee or anything like that. So we got that's the end of the Charizard, but then they swap drives. Like, okay. And then they swapped into Dragonite. Dragonite gets rolled out like a lounger and rug, like completely dominated because I went for Meteor Beam. And that, I mean, even Multiscale, I doubt that was within +2 in, you know, Terra Rock. So here comes Annihilate. I'm going to go for Expanding Force here. Super effective, +2, dropped, right? So we're getting a special Solgaleo sweep, only on PIMPNITE channel here. So we got 3 more Pokemon. Ferropalmus. Palmus. I'm not sure. I guess that's another name for Iron Hands. I'm not sure. Is that's got to be French, right? It's got to be French. So go for Expanding Force. Absolutely dumpsters. So that's another Pokemon down. I'm completely sweeping this team. So all right, we got Charizard left. What does Charizard have to hit me? Like sometimes they might have like a grass move, like let's say Terra Grass or maybe Focus Blast. But a lot of the time, it'll have a fire move, you know, Fire Blast, Flamethrower, and Air Slash, stuff like that. And then it kind of struggles a little bit for coverage outside of it. So we got a Terra Fire. I'm like, okay. I went for Expanding Force because, you know, Meteor Beam is 2 turns. And it lived. I was like, wow, that's quite a bulky Charizard to live that. Here comes the Flamethrower that did donkeys. And then I found out why Charizard lived because it was a bulky Charizard. Like, what the heck? What's going on here? So Charizard's got some okay bulk to it on the special side. So they had that bulky Charizard. So go for Expanding Force, taking up the Charizard, and we've got one more Pokeball left here. One more Pokemon. Now the last Pokemon on the team is going to be Glimmora. So this is I sort of wanted to start with my other Pokemon. I was going to start with this. So I thought that Glimmora would be the lead, but Glimmora just gets dumpstered there by the Expanding Force, and that's a Solgaleo sweep, a special Solgaleo sweep. Thank you to my random opponent for not quitting as well, playing the battle out. That was, it's not a bad special sweep, is Solgaleo. All right, this is pretty funny. So we got another random battle here. This one is against Philip, and we have a Fan lead. Now, this Deoxys is virtually useless here in this matchup. So I thought, I'm gonna maybe go for Gravity here, right? Because I feel like they're just gonna set up Stealth Strike. So they swapped out the Donphan. They're obviously scared of Ice Beam, right? A normal Deoxys would have that. And then they went into Greninja, so I thought, ooh, I've got gravity up. They don't understand the gravity of the situation. So I'm going to go for a Zap Cannon, unloaded the full load, and the Quag Jutsu has got a Focus Sash there, which is fine. I'm also going to get a Paralyze. And it was equally funny too, because the Greninja used Spikes, which turned it into a ground type. So it had the means to get around my Zap Cannon, but it couldn't do it fast enough. Then I was like, this is perfect. This is the ultimate disrespect. I've got Fling and Moonstone. So here we go, people. We got Zap Cannon, Fling, Moonstone, Deoxys, only on PIMPNITE channel. Beautiful, calculated KO there. Out comes Sherex, which is Scissor. I thought, well, I'll just go for Zap Cannon here. I thought they may go for a Bullet Punch. Look at I got a critical hit, and of course, it always paralyzes. And on that turn, Scissor actually got a Paralyze, and my opponent, they salty rage quit it after that. So, I mean, how does the worst Deoxys set on planet Earth, pardon the pun, make someone, cancel the battle instantly? That was crazy. I'll never get someone quit against a Fling Moonstone Deoxys ever again. Let's get some likes on the video, people. If you enjoy the videos, if you want to support the channel, takes 1 second, hit that like button. Also, you'll be able to see my videos in the the YouTube feed and stuff like that. You got to jump through 1,000 hoops, otherwise rings of fire. Cross your fingers and hope the video reaches you all. All right, we've got another battle here. We got a Chi-Yu lead. Now, Chi-Yu is going to absolutely destroy me, so I need to go for a Meteor Beam. Getting some really fat damage there and taking it out on the first turn, which is good. That was the Ruinous. They actually had the Ruinous Pokemon on their team here, so they had all the shiny ones. I actually just did this team a little while ago. So I accidentally went for Sunsteel Strike here. I was meant to go for Steel Beam, but I sausage fingered the controller, and of course I did no damage. And then I got equally salty because Dart Pulse just did exactly nearly over half health. So I'm like, Steel Beam's gonna faint me now. So whether Steel Beam would have one-shotted Wochin if I went for it at the start, it would have got some really good damage there, but Wochin's got some pretty good bulk too. So I'd say it might have just lived, at most, right? Anyway, it is what it is. We're going to go into the Alien now, hoping I can get some more Fling Moonstones. And we got Arceus. That's Arceus Dragon. That doesn't even look like Arceus Dragon. To me, Dragon would be more blue, but it is Arceus Dragon. So it's going to be Dragon these nuts on my Deoxys. So I got to swap out here like real quick, right? Super quick. So going to Clefairy, and we got a Terra here. I got a perfect joke, y'all. This is an absolute perfect joke. Now, okay, one planet is talking to the other planet, right? But one planet hasn't seen the other planet for a really long time. And you know what he says to the other one? Don't comment around here often. Get it? Don't comment. Comment around here often instead of come around here often. I know that was 10 out of 10. Tell me in the comment section how good that one was. All right, so I got hit by a hyper beaming Arceus, and they got pretty lucky because I set up a Cosmic Power, but of course the second hit critted me. So that's the end of the Clefairy ride. I was pretty salty about that because that was actually quite a good opportunity to set up Cosmic Powers. So going to Meteor here. Now, Meteor, I can set up Shell Smash, but I don't know what other coverage moves this has to actually, do anything. It doesn't have Ice Beam, does it have something else? I better get Shell Smash up, and I think I might even go Explosion. I was actually contemplating just going Explosion, because I was a bit worried that, with Meteor Beam, it may not faint. Obviously, being in its core form, its stats aren't nowhere near as good. When its little shell breaks, right? So we're going to go for that Terra, and we're going to, Stella, and we're going to go for Explosion. I didn't mind doing this, actually, because it looked pretty cool, like the Meteor flying around the planet. So I thought it was pretty appropriate. And it was powerful as well. So in the end, I actually changed my mind, and I went for Meteor Beam. I was like, no, I'm going to go for it and see what happens. It's going to be a powerful attack. So going for that and hoping that I can take Arceus out, because Arceus has got a lot of natural bulk, but with +3 and Stellar Boost and Meteor Beam's like really, really high base power. Arceus got absolutely dominated there. Now, the only bad thing is once I use that, I couldn't use it again unless I wanted to wait another turn. So in comes Palafin. Palafin, I thought, well, you're just going to hard swap or go flip turn. I was like, this is perfect. Let's use Explosion because Scorching Sands is not going to, it's not going to feign it. Plus, I don't want them to be able to get a flip turn off. So I thought that was a good idea. Palafin gets absolutely dumpstered there by the Meteor. I guess when the Meteor hit, when a Meteor hits the Earth, right, it can wipe a... It's funny because it doesn't have to be the same. I guess it doesn't have to be even close to the same size of the Earth. It just completely messes up the planet, like the environment and stuff. So we got a Ting Lu as the next Pokemon. I've got Deoxys, which can pretty much do absolutely nothing. What, Fling Moonstone's going to do like, negative 100 damage. So I've got to swap out the Deoxys there. And we're going to go into another Pokemon. Now, Eternatus is weak to ground if it's got Stomping Tantrum or Fissure. I was a little bit worried about Fissure here. And it's going to use Snarl. So like, oh, okay, that's quite a good move on Ting Lu as well. So I've got Solar Beam with a Power Herb. I thought, no, I'm going to go for Gravity. Let's get that Gravity going. So that's going to help my accuracy, right? Here comes the big fat Stomping Tantrum. That's a 2-hit KO, so which is fine. Eternatus does have a lot of natural bulk too. So unloading a Draco Meteor, not really doing a lot of damage there, especially after that Snarl, right? So Stomping Tantrum is going to be it's going to be a 2-hit KO really, really easily, right? Okay. Now, I've got a final space joke for you all, unless I think up another one here. Now, what did Mars say to Venus? You rock. There you go. I'm incredible. I've told you guys amazing space jokes here. There's going to be someone in the comment section saying, don't quit your day job and all this sort of stuff, like roasting me. So that's the end of Ting Lu. Palkia is going to finish it off. Last Pokemon's going to be Qianpu, and I've got Ancient Power, which I feel like will almost take it out. But I decided to go for Spatial Rem because we are running a space team. Qianpu does not have a Focus Sash, and it's not going to be able to live that one. And that's the end of the 5th battle today. I've got 7 battles. Thank you to my random opponent, Finn. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. All right. What is... I have no idea. What is it? The Aussie... Huh? I nearly passed out reading what that trainer. I have no idea what that is. It's just like a spam of letters, unless I missed a joke or something like that. All right, we got a bit of this is a nasty matchup here. So Kyron's going to go for a freeze dry. I have no idea how. Like, I guess I'd say I got minimum damage, and Minior's like bulk wires in its little had its little core around it. Little rock around it, actually managed to lift that and get a Shell Smash off, which is really cool. So now I can go and break out of there. Is this indigo or blue? Oh, wait. No, I think this might be... Because indigo's a lighter blue, I think. It's like a lighter color. I'm actually not sure. I really don't know. So anyway, we're going to go for a Meteor Beam here, and the Meteor is going to use his Meteor Beam. Kyurem, absolutely decimated. No way it was ever going to live that, so that's a good start. Next Pokemon's going to be the Lucario, so obviously they're going to use Bullet Punch, Extreme Speed, Vacuum Wave, any sort of priority move there. And I'm going to go into another Pokemon. So we're going to go into Palkia just to sponge that attack. Mostly I thought they'll just go for Extreme Speed, It's a standard move on Lucario. So Lucario doesn't do a bad amount of damage there. I've got Earth Power. Now, my team did struggle a little bit against Steel-type because there was a lot of Dragon-type moves and Fairy-type moves, so it was good getting rid of Lucario that early. Next Pokemon is going to be Roaring Moon. I was like, is this bait for is this like a bait for a Fairy Terror or something? They got an attack rise. I'm like, I'm not living this attack. So I was like, do I go for like a different move or do I go for Spatial Rem? I decided to go for Spatial Rem, and that's going to take them out. I thought they may be going for something like Terra Fairy or a defensive Terror, but they didn't. So out comes Dankrai. I'm going to swap out here. I smell a rat. Now I'm going to go into my Clefairies. I thought if they're going to use Dark Void, I've got Magic Guard, so their bad dreams will, I mean, it will affect me, but it actually won't do any damage at all, which would be pretty funny. So they did end up going for the Dark Void. So bad dreams did nothing, which is kind of funny. So then they went for Dream Eater. Like, okay. So Dream Eater did a pretty good amount of damage. I was actually hoping I could wake up and go for Moonblast, but I thought, all right, well, you've got Dream Eater. I'm assuming they're going to go for Dream Eater again. So I thought, I'll swap and go into Minior. And then Minior, in its more offensive form, might be able to get an explosion off and finish off the Dark Rays, depending on what nature they're running and stuff like that. So for some reason, they went for Shadow Ball there. I don't know why they went for Shadow Ball. That made no sense to me whatsoever, but unfortunately, that fainted my Minior. So going into Eternatus now, I've got Draco Meteor, and I missed it. I was like, damn, this is why I say. But at the same time, I don't want to use Gravity, because if I use Gravity, that will make Dark Void more accurate, you know. But of course, it's gonna land anyway. So that is my planet is fast asleep here. You guys aren't allowed to take this out of context, all right? So we're fast asleep. We got to swap it out there. And apparently it's a very cold planet and it doesn't have any heat or anything like that. All right, so going back into Deoxys, I thought this would be pretty funny. I could maybe try and go for a Zap Cannon. They're going to go for Dream Eater, so that was a nice free swap in for me. So I was hoping I could get the Zap Cannon KO, and I did. I took out the Dark Ray, so that was really good. So that sort of made up for all those Dark Voids landing and stuff like that. Next Pokemon, what is that trying to name? Is going to be Typhlosion. It's also shiny too. So I thought, well, Zap Cannon will be really good against Typhlosion. Let's go ahead and go for that, right? Great damage there, but it kind of left it a little bit better than what I actually thought. So I got the Paralyzed, and then I was like, they were also Paralyzed this turn too. So I was pretty lucky there, getting a Paralyze. I mean, it always Paralyzes, but they couldn't do anything to attack. And then I was like, okay, this is my chance. I'm going to go for Terra Dark Moonstone Fling. Surely I can take Typhlosion out. It's not a very bulky Pokemon, so this will be perfect, right? I don't know what EVs this had, but it was so bulky. And then they landed Inferno. I'm like, oh, that's absolute smoking BS there. So, man, I reckon that Typhlosion had health EVs. It was really bulky on defense. So I know that Fling Moonstone is a meme, but that should have done way more. So bringing in Clefairy, they landed another one. I was like, oh my goodness, this can't be happening. So I woke up. Thank goodness I woke up. I got a Moonblast off, and it didn't take it out. So I was like, all right, they're not going to be able to land it again. They went for a Flame Charge, and I lived on 1 health. The merch is available there. So we're going to go for another Moonblast and take out what was that Typhlosion set? Inferno? Flame Charge. I have no idea. Last Pokemon on their team is going to be Great Tusk. Great Tusk has got that ability, and it's got that defensive rise too. So I thought, well, I'm not going to be able to outspeed this. Moonblast will do some good damage to it, but there's no way Clefairy is going to outspeed it. So we've got Terra Ground here. So obviously it's got some sort of ground type move. And I was like, bro, they use Headlong Rush on my Clefairy on 1 health. On 1 health! Like, man, they must not have liked this Clefairy beating that Typhlosion. They must have been really salty about me living on 1 health. Like, I don't blame them and stuff, but it was just really funny. So bringing in Eternatus, like, all I got to do is wake up here and get Solar Beam off here, and that'll completely dominate them. And you know, any of the other options. And unfortunately, the planet remains sleeping, you know, and we've got another Headlong Rush. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to live that. There's no way. It's got a good attack stat too. And Headlong Rush is a powerful move. Obviously, the only drawback is you drop your defense and special defense every time. So we've got Solgaleo and Palkia left. I need to take this out now. I'm going to go for Steel Beam, as long as I don't, of course, miss Steel Beam. And Steel Beam is going to take out the Great Tusk. And it's going to actually deplete half of my health too. And that was the last Pokemon. That was actually the last Pokemon. So, interesting battle there for sure. I've got no idea what that Typhlosion EVs were. That was some crazy stuff there. Last battle, this one is against Mitchell. I think it's Michelle. And we've got a Golem Alola lead. Now, I've got this Deoxys lead, which really can't do a lot except for like Psycho Boost. So I went for Gravity because I thought they're probably just going to go for a Stealth Rock set. You know, that's why they're leading with it. Probably a standard set there. So they've got their Stealth Rocks up. Now, I've got Psycho Boost, which I thought, well, at worst should take them out or get very, very close. Now, I wasn't running any special attack EVs either, so I think that was the only reason that it actually lived that. So I got a special attack drop. Now they're going to go for a Rock Blast. I thought, okay, I can live a couple of these, but I won't live, a loaded die set. But they had 3 of them, so I actually managed to live that. I was like, great, I can go for a Fling Moonstone, but they got Cussed Out Berry to grant them priority that turn and go for Earthquake. So I was like, damn, that would have been so funny if I got the Fling Moonstone KO again. I love getting that. So that's the end of Deoxys, that terrible Deoxys set. We're going to go into Solgaleo now. So I thought, well, this is not a bad Pokemon to go into. I was going to go into Palkia and go for Ancient Power, but I thought, nah, I don't want to do that because their team didn't have a lot of they didn't have any legendaries. So I thought, if I got an Ancient Power boost, then that would just be like super mean. So I went into Solgaleo. And I thought this would be, this could be, a little bit more challenging. So I went for the Sunseal Strike to finish it off because I wanted to disguise that I was running a physical, a mix set, right? So Delphox is going to outspeed me there. Does a lot of damage. I just lived it, and I'm going to go for Meteor Beam here. So I think this definitely would have surprised them that I was a mix set instead of like just a physical set. The only thing I was worried about if Meteor Beam misses. I don't think Meteor Beam should be able to miss because you've already got the 2-turn charge there, right? So Delphox is down, which is good. That's for Solgaleo it is. Now we got Bombardier. You don't get to see Bombardier too often. I thought, well, I'm going to be able to feint this, but I think they're going to have Choice Scarf, right? They wouldn't have swapped it in anyway. So it's got Choice Scarf and U-turn's going to feint me. So just a standard item there on Bombardier. Now, second, okay, I've lost my Solgaleo, I've lost my amazing Deoxys. What do we swap in? Now, this is actually a very, very problematic situation because remember how I said I don't have a lot of physical moves? Well, when you take out the dragon moves on the special side, I have really nothing for it. I almost have to sack a Pokemon just to get rid of this. So this is not good. So I thought about, I could go Shell Smash, but they'll have Moonblast and they'll feint me. Or I could go Stellar and then go Explosion. What am I or I could go Meteor Beam first and then go Explosion. So I decided to go for the Meteor Beam and then Explosion combination. I knew that Meteor Beam wouldn't do very much damage there, so, especially being in my, my little core mode here. So not bad damage, I guess. Florg's got big special defense and they use Giga Drain. So that's a bit unfortunate because I would have lived that. If I went for Shell Smash there, I would have lived, but I don't know why they use Giga Drain instead of Moonblast. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. It would have done way more damage. Anyway, I'm in Shields Down, which I thought I would be regardless. But this time, that time would have been nice to have Shell Smash. Then I would have just gone Explosion. So I thought, all right, let's go Explosion. let's see how much this does. I wasn't expecting a KO by any means, but I got some really good damage there. So that was pretty good. I was happy about that. Then, of course, after I used Explosion, the Florg uses Moonblast. I'm like, all right, well, I was right to think they were going to do that. It's just, I don't know. I always thought the Florgs is would be a fairy and grass Pokemon with its appearance because it's literally a flower, right? So going into the Palkia, the only good set on my team, and this thought, I was like, maybe I could go for Ancient Power. I was like, wait, if I go for that, I might not take it out. I don't want to get hit by a Moonblast, right? So I was like, I'll go for Terra Steel here and finish off Florgs because I really do need to because there's not much left of my team that can just deal with it because it's typing and stuff. And judging on the sets that they've run so far, I'm sure they've got something like Wish on it. So finishing off the Florgs with it almost looked like a planet crashing into a flower. So we've got Golem, we've got Bombardier, now we're going to Talon. So this turn here, I was like, well, they're going to go for Snipe Shot. That turn there was very important. They got a super, super, super lucky crit. And that was that was hugely important because I lost, my best Pokemon. So now it's like, well, I've got my gimmicky meme legendary sets left. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to squeeze out of this team. Also, speaking of squeeze out, I had to go to the toilet. I don't want to gross you guys out, but I was absolutely busting to go to the toilet, right? At this point when I was doing this battle, not now, of course. And he like you thinking about a balloon, right? When it's full of air, this balloon was full of air and bursting at seams. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna spam Draco Meteor here and see if we can finish this battle. Like, I had to go to the toilet so badly, right? And I didn't want to go AFK, so we got the Bombardier coming here. I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll swap the Eternatus out because they're just going to go for Brave Bird or something like that. And I'll go into Clefairy, right? That might do some good damage to them, and I might be able to cheese them a little bit with Moonlight. So Brave Bird did under half health, which is excellent. And I can go for Cosmic Power here, or I could even go for, Moonblast. They're going to swap the Bombardier out, and I was like, they're probably going to go back into either an Inteleon or another Pokemon. So they went into Serena, right? So I went for the Moonlight here, which is all good. All this time, I'm like, man, I really need to, I have to go to, I'm busting, right? I'm busting. I had like a massive drink of water, like not just a little one, an absolutely massive one. And I was ready to go. So I thought, all right, I don't really want to set Cosmic Powers up here because this is going to take the rest of my natural life to win this battle. And then they went for Trop Kick, which obviously did nothing there. So I was like, okay, this is good. I might be able to get around this. If I get enough Cosmic Powers up here, I can easily take out Inteleon and Bombardier. Moonblast on Bombardier and, Stored Power on Inteleon. The only thing is Inteleon had Snipe Shot, which was which can crit some of the time too, right? And they already got a super, super lucky crit earlier on, so I was like, I'm calling this is going to be a crit soon, right? So I wasn't really confident I could take the last 3 Pokemon out with Eternatus, like, because I had Draco Meteor and Solar Beam. Wasn't exactly the greatest set. So we've got now they're going to go for a Terra Water as well, so they were really pressing their advantage here. With Snipe Shot. I was like, hopefully I live a couple because they already got super duper lucky before, right? So I went for the Moonlight. Now, the worst thing you can do against critting moves is stall, but I had to build up, stored power, right? Because I only had 3 up, which would do nothing. But I was like, maybe I should start attacking this thing now with just Moonblast. I might be able to get a special attack drop, to help out the Eternatus. So we got another Snipe Shot. I think Snipe Shot one-shotted me at full health with a crit too. Like easily with Terra Water. So I went for Moonblast and I got a good amount of damage there. It was a 3-hit KO. So now they go for more Snipe Shots here and they're not critting me. So, which is good, because that move shouldn't crit. It's only like, what, a 1 in 3 chance. And then I got a special attack drop. So I was going for that. I was like, that's really good. All I got to do is hang on for like 1 turn now and I'll be good to go. I can maybe even be able to get that, healing off, and then they got a crit. I was like, so, Palkia and Clefairy couldn't do anything, right? So we're going to go into my final Pokemon. Eternatus like, all right, I'm busting, all right? I'm going to take this stupid thing out with a Solar Beam, like disrespect Solar Beam Power Herb Eternatus, and then I'm just going to, I'm going to go for Draco Meteor, right, on the last 2 Pokemon. I'm just going to go ahead and go for that. So go for Solar Beam here. Eternatus would be pretty good against Serena, unless it had, like, Triple Axle. That was about the only thing I was kind of worried about for that. Bombardier's Brave Bird would, probably be maybe like a 2 to 3 hit KO, right? So that's the end of that. Next Pokemon, Serena. So like, okay, this is good. Knockoff is not going to do anything because I've used up my item. Draco Meteor is going to be my best play. So Draco Meteor, great damage there. I didn't actually take them out, which sucks. And they went for Knockoff. So Knockoff's going to be a 200 hit KO, right? So I'm like, all right, all I got to do now is just, I guess I'll go for Terra Blast to conserve my special attack for, for the last Pokemon. So I'm going for that. And then they started stalling. I'm like, are you serious? So their last Pokemon is going to be able to take out my Eternatus. No worries at all, right? So I'm like, I've got to go to the toilet. Like, so I literally had to race to the toilet right now. I went AFK for probably like, I don't know, it would have been nearly a minute, and I had to cancel, right? Because, like, I was completely busting, so I had to cancel. And they just kept healing and stalling. Hope you enjoyed this one, people. Peace out.